Namo Amida Butsu. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whenever you are, in whichever realms of existence you are, whichever mind states you're in, whatever conditions you're in. Well, you are most certainly welcome to my channel. I'm going to be continuing my series of readings from Shinran about the latter age of the Dharma, or the last Dharma age, or the age of Dharma decline, etc. In other words, Mappo, in the Japanese. And today I'm going to read from this book, the chapter 4 of the Kyogyoshisho, and this version, like I said, of that. The BDK English Tripitaka series. But anyway, and it's a section from chapter 4 of the Kyogyoshisho. There's a the title is put in there as the last Dharma age section, and it's about 12 pages. So I'm going to read that, try to get through it in one reading, but if not, we'll break it up into a series. I might at times make my reflections like I did in the other reading, or in the other series that I'm doing of readings like this. So so sit back and enjoy. Right. Oh, and the reason I'm doing this is because I do want to do some Dharma dialogue about the last Dharma age. I want to talk about that in the context. I want to do some Dharma dialogue with Kyokan and some reflections myself, but Dharma dialogue with Kyokan about the last Dharma age, but all the three Dharma ages, and also put in the context of the temporal cosmology of Buddhism, of this being situated in the when Shakyamuni came, was in the very lowest end of the declining kalpa that we're in. So I might eventually do some readings about that as well. But it was already bad before this. The age of the five turbidities started a long time before this. It's in the declining kalpa. It's already been pretty bad. It was already really bad before Shakyamuni came. And now, it's like we're in the worst age of this declining kalpa. We're in the very tail end of it. We're less than 10,000 years away from the very bottom of that. So kalpa. So so that's I want to talk about. And then once I've done these readings and I'm discussing this with in Dharma Dialogue with Kyokan, it'll be kind of, I think, through the Bamboo in Daily Life series, to just talk about the reason I want to do these readings and then talk about it is, so what does this mean? How I know what it means in terms of the teaching, but also discuss that. But I mean, just how to live our daily lives. What's the Jodo Shinshu approach and teaching, and about how to live our daily lives, enduring this age in which we live, which is pretty bad. It's a pretty bad age to be living in. So anyway, so there you go. I hope you enjoy the location as well, in the remote woodlands of Devon. No, not so. It's not so remote. I'm at a RHS garden, and there's a nice, beautiful woodland area around here. So I thought it would be perfect for doing a reading and making a video. So yeah. So like I said, sit back, drink some green tea or any other warm beverage that you enjoy drinking, and enjoy. All right, the last Dharma age. This is like I said, from chapter 4 of the Kyogyoshisho, the teachings about the last Dharma age. It's in this book. It starts on page 277. But anyway, so. Now the multitudes of this evil and defiled world, ignorant of the distinctive features of the age of the decadent Dharma, criticize the manners of monks and nuns. People of the present both monks and lay people should respect their own capacities. Let us consider the teaching of the three Dharma ages. Right. Well, first of all, right there, that first paragraph, just, I reflect is, and I often emphasize this in my own reflections and in discussions with Kyokan, is like living within my limitations, being aware of my limitation, my karmic causes and conditions as best I can as a bamboo. Living within the being pragmatic and practical about the one's limitations when it comes to understanding, teaching, practice, Buddhism, life, anything really, work, whatever. We have to be. If we're born into this age, you got to be really aware of your sort of karmic limit, karmic causes and conditions and karmic limitations, really. But anyway, okay. Let us consider the teachings of the three ages. When we examine the time of the Tathagata's complete nirvana, we find that it falls on the 51st year, the water / monkey year, of the reign of Mu, the fifth emperor of the Chao dynasty. From that water / monkey year to the first year of Genin, the wood / monkey year, in this country, it is 2,183 years. If we calculate based on the auspicious Kalpa Sutra, I won't even try to pronounce the actual title in Sanskrit in the parentheses there. If we calculate based on the auspicious Kalpa Sutra, the Benevolent King Sutra, and the Nirvana Sutra, we find that 683 years have already passed since the age of the decadent Dharma began. The Candle of the Latter Dharma by Saicho reads as follows. The one who guides beings based on oneness is the Dharma King. The one who reigns over the four seas with virtue is the Benevolent King. The Benevolent King and the Dharma King work together to enlighten beings and spread the teaching by harmonizing the supramundane truth with the mundane truth. Consequently, the profound scriptures fill the whole country, and the beneficent teaching reaches everywhere under heaven. Foolish monks all follow heaven's mandate and respectfully submit to strict punishment, while they are never at ease. With regard to the Dharma, there are three ages and people. With regard to the Dharma, there are three ages, and people are divided into three levels. The teaching for guiding us and the precepts change according to the times, and words of praise or condemnation are applied to people of different ages. In the three ages, practice of the Dharma thrives and declines in various ways, and people of the 500-year periods attain wisdom and enlightenment differently. How can people be saved by only one path? How can they be disciplined by only one guiding principle? For this reason, I will clarify the distinctive features of the ages of the right Dharma, the semblance Dharma, and the decadent Dharma, and attempt to disclose the matters concerning observance and violation of the precepts in the Sangha. There are three sections. First, ascertaining the theory of the right Dharma. There are three sections. First, ascertaining the theory of the ages of the right, semblance, and decadent Dharma. Second, clarification of the matters concerning observance and violation of the precepts in the Sangha. and third, scriptural evidence concerning these matters. First, ascertaining the theory of the ages of the right, semblance, and Dharma, and decadent Dharma. There are various different theories, one of which will be presented. There are various theories, one of which will be presented. Kyogyoshisho, a Mahayana master, cites the auspicious Kalpa, actually a passage adopted from the Sutra on Maitreya's ascent to the Tusita heaven. Mi Lang Shang Ching saying, after the Buddha's complete nirvana, the right Dharma will last for 500 years, and the semblance Dharma for 1,000 years. After this period, 1,500 years, Shakyamuni's Dharma will perish. The age of the decadent Dharma is not mentioned here. According to the other explanations, the age of the right Dharma lasts 1,000 years. But since nuns do not observe the 8 rules of respectful attitude and become indolent, the age of the right Dharma does not extend further than 500 years. Hence, I do not adopt this theory. Nirvana Sutra says, in the age of the decadent Dharma, 120,000 great bodhisattvas uphold the Dharma and keep it from perishing. Since this statement concerns bodhisattvas of higher ranks, it does not suit our purposes. Question. Then what are the main happenings during the 1,500-year period? Answer. It is stated in the Mahamaya Sutra, Mo-Hei Mo-I-Ching, during the first 500 years after the Buddha's passing into nirvana, the 7 holy sages, such as Mahakasyapa, during the first 500 years after the Buddha's passing into nirvana, the holy sages such as Mahakasyapa will successively uphold the right Dharma and keep it from perishing. The right Dharma will perish after 500 years. During the following century, 95 kinds of non-Buddhist teachings will compete with each other for ascendancy. Then Asvaghosha will appear and subdue all non-Buddhist teachings. During the 7th century, Nagarjuna will appear in the world and tear up the banners of wrong views. During the 8th century, monks will become self-indulgent and unruly in their behavior, and so only 1 or 2 will attain the fruit of the way. During the 9th century, male and female servants will be made into monks and nuns. During the 10th century, when they hear the teaching of the contemplation of impurity, they will become angry and show no sign of interest. During the 11th century, monks and nuns will take wives and husbands and thus break and abuse the precepts. During the 12th century, monks and nuns will have children. During the 13th century, the color of the monks' robes will change to white. During the 14th century, the 4 kinds of disciples will be like hunters. They will sell things belonging to the 3 treasures. During the 15th century, 2 monks in the land of Kausambi will engage in dispute and finally kill each other. As a result, the Buddha's teachings will be stored away in the dragon's palace. I think that's referring to the Nagas, or at least a species of the Nagas. This passage is also found in the Nirvana Sutra, fascicle 18, and in the Benevolent King Sutra. According to the sutras, after 15 centuries there will be no precepts, sila, meditation, samadhi, or wisdom, prajna. I'll read that again. According to these sutras, after 15 centuries there will be no more precepts, sila, meditation, samadhi, or wisdom, prajna. Therefore, the Great Assembly Sutra, fascicle 51, states, during the first 500 years after my passing into nirvana, monks and nuns will be steadfast in attaining liberation in accord with the right Dharma. The first attainment of the fruit of sagehood is described as liberation. During the next 500 years, they will be steadfast in practicing meditation. During the next 500 years, they will be steadfast in hearing much teaching. During the next 500 years, they will be steadfast in constructing temples. During the last 500 years, they will be steadfast in engaging in disputes, and so the pure Dharma will be hidden away. This passage means that during the first three of the 500-year periods, the three learnings, let me start that again. This passage means that during the first three of the 500-year periods, the three learnings of precepts, meditation, and wisdom will be steadfastly upheld in due order. These three periods correspond to the age of the right Dharma, lasting 500 years, the age of the semblance Dharma, lasting 1,000 years. The period after that, of constructing temples, is the age of decadent Dharma. This is why Kuichi says in the commentary on the Diamond Sutra, Chinkang Panlo Ching San Shu, the age of the right Dharma lasts 500 years, and that of the semblance Dharma lasts 1,000 years. After the period of 1,500 years, the right Dharma will perish. For this reason, we know that the age following this period is the age of the decadent Dharma. Question: If that is so, to which age does the present period belong? Here we go. Answer: There are many theories concerning the years that have passed since the Buddha's nirvana. I will present two theories for now. First, Master Fa Shang and others, based on the Chao dynasty record of miraculous events, Chao Shou Yi Qi, say, the Buddha entered nirvana in the 51st year, the water/monkey year, of the reign of Mu Wangman, the fifth lord of the Chao dynasty. According to this theory, from the water/monkey year to this last period, sorry, I got distracted. Let me read that again. According to this theory, from the water/monkey year to the present day, 20th year of Enraku, the metal/snake year, is 1,750 years. Second, Fei Chang Fang and others, based on the spring and autumn annals, Chu Chung Chiu of the state of Lu, say, the Buddha entered nirvana in the 4th year, the water/rat year, of the reign of Kuang Wangpan, the 21st lord of the Chao dynasty. According to this theory, from that water/rat year to the present 20th year of Enraku, the metal snake year, is 1,410 years. Thus, the present period belongs to the end of the age of semblance Dharma. The monk's behavior in this period already the monk's behavior in this period is already the same as the age of the decadent Dharma. In the age of the decadent Dharma, only the words and teachings of the Buddha remain, and neither practice nor enlightenment is possible. So in the age of the decadent Dharma, only the words and teachings of the Buddha remain, and neither practice nor enlightenment is possible. If there were precepts, there would be violation of precepts. Since there are no longer precepts, what precept can one break to constitute violation of the precepts? Since no violation of the precepts is possible, how could there be observance of the precepts? Therefore, the Great Assembly Sutra says, after the Buddha's nirvana, Buddhists without precepts will fill the land. Question. In the sutras and the Nyaya text, those who have broken the precepts and refused permission to enter... Question. In the sutras and the Vinaya texts, those who have broken the precepts or refused permission to enter the Sangha. Even those who have broken the precepts are thus treated. How much more are those without precepts? If I am to repeat the remark about the age of the decadent Dharma, there are no precepts in this age. How could one feel the pain without a wound? Answer. Your reasoning is wrong. The monk's behavior during the age of the right semblance and decadent Dharma is extensively described in many sutras. Who is there, whether monk or layperson, within the Sangha or outside it, who has not read about this? Why should they be too greedily attached to the wrong way of life to conceal the right Dharma that is the support of the country? In the age of the decadent Dharma, of which we are speaking, there are monks in name only. However, we regard these nominal monks as true treasures of the world. For there are no other fields of merit. If in the age of the decadent Dharma there were some who observed the precepts, they would not appear very strange to us as if a tiger were to appear in the marketplace. Let me read that again. If in the age of the decadent Dharma there were some who observed the precepts, they would appear very strange to us, as if a tiger were to appear in the marketplace. Who would believe such a thing? Question. The monk's behavior in the ages of the right semblance and decadent Dharma is described in various sutras. It is stated that the sacred scriptures that in the age of the decadent Dharma, nominal monks should be regarded as true treasures of the world. Oh, sorry, I think I read that wrong. So let me read that again. Question. The monk's behavior in the ages of the right semblance and decadent Dharma is described in various sutras. Is it stated in the sacred scriptures that in the age of the decadent Dharma, nominal monks should be regarded as true treasures of the world? It is stated in the Great Assembly Sutra, Fascicle 9. It is just as genuine gold is regarded as priceless treasure. If there were no genuine gold, silver would be regarded as priceless treasure. If silver were not available, brass, the spurious treasure, would be regarded as priceless. If there were no spurious treasure, copper or nickel, iron, pewter, or lead would be regarded as priceless. All of these treasures in the world, but the Buddha Dharma is priceless. If there is no treasure of the Buddha, the Pratyekya Buddha is supreme. If there is no Pratyekya Buddha, the Arhat is supreme. If there is no Arhat, other sages are regarded as supreme. If there are no sages, ordinary people who have attained meditative states are regarded as supreme. If there are no such ordinary people, those who strictly observe the precepts are regarded as supreme. If there are none who strictly observe the precepts, monks who have broken the precepts are regarded as supreme. If there are no such monks in name only, who have shaved their heads and wear a monk's robe, are regarded as supreme treasure. Compared to the 95 wrong paths, they are by far the supreme and are worthy of the world's offerings. They are the foremost field of merit for sentient beings. For what reason? Because they show people that they are to be feared and respected. If one protects, supports, and respects such monks, let me start that sentence again. If one protects, supports, and respects such monks, one will before long attain the stage of insight into the non-arising of all dharmas. In the above passage, 8 kinds of priceless treasure are presented, namely the Tathagata, Pratyekya Buddhas, Shravakas, and those who have attained the first 3 fruits of stagehood, ordinary beings who have attained meditative states, monks who observe the precepts, and those who have broken the precepts, and monks in name only who have no precepts to observe. These are the priceless treasures of the ages of the right, semblance, and decadent Dharma. The first 4 of the treasures are the treasures of the age of the right Dharma. The next 3 are the treasures of the age of the semblance Dharma, and the last is the treasure of the age of the decadent Dharma. From this, we clearly know that the monks who have broken precepts and those who have no precepts are equally true treasures. So that's pretty important. And it's, one of the things I try to keep in mind about this age we live in. And that this makes perfect sense to me in all the context of all the things I've learned and teachings about the last Dharma age of Mappo. It makes really good sense, and I'm always mindful of that in my attitude about certain things and certain people in the world who are monks or priests, because so the last 2 are the treasures of the Dharma age, of the decadent Dharma age of Mappo, are the monks who have broken the precepts and those who have no precepts are equally true treasures. The monks in name only who have no precepts to observe, and those who have broken the precepts, they are the treasures. So we need to keep really mindful of that. No matter what no matter what's going on or gone on, we have to see that in the context of this. That doesn't mean to say that if something is not being done right, or not being taught right, or not being transmitted right, I think it's that can be pointed out without criticizing or abusing or slandering the monks or priests doing it, if you see what I mean. I think there's a way to do it, to point out something is wrong with the way something's being done or being taught, without being abusive or being slanderous or making fun of or making light of or whatever. But it is important still that the authentic teaching is pointed out. And when that authentic teaching is divergent, then that has to be kind of pointed out. So, and that can apply to anybody, really. If anybody is presenting the Dharma, or or talking about the Dharma or whatever that can be pointed out, without abusing that person or making fun of that person or slandering that person. You can point out that's incorrect teaching. So, or incorrect way of doing things, or not a good way, or compassionate way, or helpful way of doing things. You can point that out without even making specific reference, I suppose. But anyway, that's a really important thing, I think. And that's a tough one, I think, too. It's a tough one to keep that balance. So anyway, especially because we don't live in, if we lived in Shinran's time or Renyo's time even, it's different attitudes about and respect, toward both temporal leaders and religious leaders. It was just part of the normal, that was just part of the culture, and now it isn't. So it's especially important for us to keep this stuff in mind. Anyway, let's continue. So, question. When I humbly read the above passages... Oh, sorry, we already did that one. No, we didn't. Okay. So, question. When I humbly read the above passages, I see that both monks who have broken the precepts and those who are monks in name only are all true treasures. For what reason is it stated in the Nirvana Sutra and the Great Assembly Sutra as follows? It is the king and the ministers... let's start again. If the king and the ministers make offerings to the monks who have broken precepts, the three calamities will occur in the country, and they will eventually fall into hell. Making offerings to monks who have broken the precepts brings about such results. How much more so if they make offerings to the monks who have no precepts? It follows, and it follows then that the Tathagata at times censures monks who have broken the precepts, and at other times praises them. Would this not be the error of the one great sage, making two contradictory judgments? Wow, it's even hard for me to read that. Let me read that again. So it follows then, and this is the continuation after they quoted the Nirvana Sutra and the Great Assembly Sutra, that they quoted that bit from this Great Assembly Sutra, the question continues. If it follows that the Tathagata at times censures monks who have broken the precepts and at other times praises them, or it follows then that the Tathagata at times censures monks who have broken the precepts and at other times praises them, would this not be the error of the one great sage, making two contradictory statements? Answer. Your reasoning is not correct. The Nirvana Sutra and other sutras prescribe violation of the precepts in the age of the right Dharma. This is not meant for monks of the ages of the semblance and decadent Dharmas. Although the same terms are used, their implications differ according to the times. The great sage prescribes or permits the same act according to the age. This is his intent. Therefore, he does not commit the fault of making two different judgments on one matter. Question. How do you know that the Nirvana Sutra and other sutras prescribe violation of the precepts according to the age of the right Dharma, and do not address monks of the ages of the semblance and decadent Dharma? Answer. The exposition of the eightfold true treasure quoted above from the Great Assembly Sutra is the testimony. Depending on the age, these 8 true treasures are all priceless. Since the monks who break the precepts in the age of the right Dharma corrupt the monks who observe the precepts, the Buddha strictly prohibits this and does not allow such monks to enter the Sangha. Accordingly, the Nirvana Sutra, Fascicle 3 says, the Tathagata has now entrusted the supreme right Dharma to the kings, ministers, counselors, monks, and nuns, If there are some who break the precepts and abuse the right Dharma, the kings, ministers, and the four groups of Buddhists should correct them by taking disciplinary action against them. Such kings, ministers, and others will gain immeasurable merit. ... There are my disciples, true Shravakas. The merit they gain will be immeasurable. Okay. Such words of prohibition are found in many places. They are meant for the age of the right Dharma, not the ages of the semblance and decadent Dharma. The reason for this is that the latter part of the age of the semblance Dharma and the age of the decadent Dharma, the right Dharma is not practice. Let me read that again. I think I'm going to miss the word in there. The reason for this is that in the latter part of the age of the semblance Dharma and in the age of the decadent Dharma, the right Dharma is not practiced. And so there is no Dharma that can be abused. Interesting way that's put. What act can be called abuse of the Dharma? There are no precepts to be broken, so who can be called one who has broken the precepts? Therefore, there is no practice that the great king safeguards. How would the three calamities occur, and how would the practice of the precepts of wisdom be lost? Again, in the ages of the semblance and decadent Dharma, there is no one who realizes enlightenment. So how could the Buddha teach the two kinds of sages to be consulted with and protected? Let me read that again. Again, in the ages of the semblance and decadent Dharma, there is no one who realizes enlightenment, and so how could the Buddha teach that the two kinds of sages be consulted and protected? Hence, we know that the above descriptions all apply to the age of the right Dharma, when the precepts are observed and violation of them is possible. It's perfect. It's just like perfect reasoning. Shinran is like incredible. Next, during the first 500 years in the 1,000-year period of the semblance Dharma, observance of the precepts dwindles away and the breaking of precepts gradually increases. Although there are precepts and practice of the way, no enlightenment is possible. Hence, it is stated in the Nirvana Sutra, Fascicle 7, Kasyapa Bodhisattva said to the Buddha, "World-honored one, according to the Buddha's exposition, there are four kinds of devils. How can we distinguish the devil's teachings from the Buddha's? Among many sentient beings, some follow the devil's way, and others follow the Buddha's way, and others follow the Buddha's. How can they know which way they are following?" The Buddha said to Kasyapa, 700 years after my nirvana, the devil Papias will gradually gain strength and make many attempts to destroy the right Dharma. Suppose there is a hunter wearing a monk's robes. The devil Papias is like this. He will appear in the form of a monk, nun, layman, or laywoman, i.e. the four groups of Buddhists, in much the same way. He will say, monks are allowed to keep male and female servants, cows, sheep, horses, and such daily necessities as copper and iron kettles and cauldrons and copper bowls of various sizes, and to engage in cultivation of fields, planting seeds, buying and selling and trade, and also to store grains and rice. The Buddha, out of great compassion, takes pity on sentient beings and so permits them to engage in such activities and keep such things. And that's the end of the quote of what Papias is saying in the form of a monk, nun, layman, or laywoman. These remarks in the sutras and the Vinaya are all devil's expositions. It is already stated 700 years after my nirvana, the devil Papias will gradually gain strength. Hence, we know that at the time monks will at last desire and keep the 8 kinds of impure possessions. Hence, well, let me read that again. Hence, we know that at that time monks will at last desire and keep the 8 kinds of impure possessions. It is the devil's work to make such false remarks. These sutras explain in detail the monk's behavior with clear reference to the time, so they should not be doubted. I have quoted not only one passage, leaving the rest to your I have quoted only one passage, leaving the rest to your imagination. Next, it's very interesting. We're supposed to use our imagination, it would appear. We're supposed to use our reflection and imagination in things. Anyway, it would appear there. I have quoted only one passage, leaving the rest to your imagination. Next, in the latter half of the age of semblance Dharma, observance of the precepts will decline and violation of the precepts will increase enormously. Therefore, it is stated in the Nirvana Sutra, fascicle 6, ... It is stated in the sutra on the 10 wheels of Siddhigarbha. Suppose there is someone who renounces the world according to the Buddhist rules and yet commits evil. Let me start that again, sorry. Suppose there is someone who renounces the world according to the Buddhist rules and commits evil. Although he is not a mendicant, he calls himself one. Although he does not perform pure practices, he claims that he performs them. Such a monk opens the hidden storehouse of all good and merit for all devas, dragons, yakshas, and then becomes a good teacher of sentient beings. Though he does not know contentment with little desire, he shaves his head and beard and wears a monk's robe. By doing so, he increases the roots of good for the sake of sentient beings and shows the good path to all devas and humans. Although a monk who breaks the precepts is said to be a dead man, the power of observance of the precepts that still remains is like the cow's bazoor. Even though the cow dies, people make special efforts to obtain the bazoor. It is also like musk, which is useful after the musk deer has died. Interesting. Very, very, very interesting and really amazing reasoning. It is already stated in the forest of Kalaka. It is already stated in the forest of Kalaka trees. There is a persimmon tree. In the forest of Kalaka trees, there is a persimmon tree. This illustrates the fact that when the age of the semblance Dharma declines, only 1 or 2 monks who observe the precepts exist in the defiled world, characterized by the breaking of precepts. It is also stated, although a monk who breaks the precepts is like a dead man, he is like the usefulness of the musk after the musk deer has died. He becomes a good teacher of sentient beings. Wow, that is very cool. Hence, we clearly know that in this period, the breaking of the precepts is finally permitted, and the monk who breaks them is regarded as the field of merit for the world. Wow, that's just so amazing to read this. Anyway, this is the same as in the passage quoted earlier from the Great Assembly Sutra. Let me just stop there for a second. It's just great to hear this. It just really helps you to understand what your attitude should be and why. It's very clear. It's so good. Anyway, next, after the end of the age of the semblance Dharma, there are no precepts whatsoever. Recognizing the changing times, the Buddha, in order to save the people of the age of the decadent Dharma, praises the monks in name only, to make them the field of merit in the world. The Great Assembly Sutra, fascicle 52, says, if in the age of the decadent Dharma there is a monk in name only who, in accord with my teaching, shaves his hair and beard and wears a monk's robes, and if there are donors who make offerings to him, such donors will gain immeasurable merit. Wow, it's just good. It's really good to know and read this stuff. Okay, it is also stated in the Sutra of the Wise and the Foolish, Xian Yu Jing, in the last age of the future, when the Dharma is about to perish, the age of the extinct Dharma, monks will take wives and father children. Yet you should pay homage to a group of 4 or more such monks, just as you would to Saraputra, Maha Magdalena, and others. Sorry if I got the pronunciation wrong on that other great sage's name, or Arhat, or Bodhisattva. It is also said in the same sutra, if one beats and scolds monks who have broken the precepts without knowing what they it is also stated in the same sutra, if one beats and scolds monks who have broken the precepts without knowing that they wear monks' robes, the offense is the same as causing blood to flow from the bodies of 10,000 kotis of Buddhas. Wow! If there are sentient beings who shave their hair and beards and wear the monk's robe for the cause of the Dharma, even though they may not observe the precepts, they already bear the seal of nirvana. Wow, this is really true and strong language. It's just, it's really good to know this, to read this, to hear this. The Great Compassion Sutra says, the Buddha said to Ananda, in the future, when the Dharma is about to perish, monks and nuns who have renounced the world in accord with my teaching will lead their children by the hand and wander together from one public house to another. Wow. They will commit impure acts while staying with my teaching. Despite their indulging in wine, they will be my disciples in this auspicious kalpa when a thousand Buddhas appear in the world. Afterward, Maitreya will become my successor, followed by others who will appear in succession until the Tathagata Rokana. You should know, Ananda, while following my teaching, people who will become medicants in name only and practice wrong acts and yet declare themselves medicants. In appearance, they resemble medicants and always wear monks' robes. In the auspicious kalpa, when the Tathagatas of Maitreya down to Rokana appear, such medicants will, under these Buddhas, enter complete nirvana without remainder. None of them will be left behind. For what reason? Because among all such medicants, some call the Buddha's name even once and awakened faith even once. Their acts of merit have not been done in vain. This I know because I recognize everything in the Dharma realm with the Buddha wisdom. These sutras, referring to the specific age regarding monks in name only in the future age of decadent Dharma as venerable masters of the world. If you seek to regulate behavior of monks in name only in the age of the decadent Dharma with rules of discipline meant for the age of the right Dharma, the teaching will run counter to the people's capacity, and the people and the Dharma will not fit each other. Accordingly, it is said in a Vinaya text, to enforce prohibition on that which should not be prohibited will mean abolishing the Vinaya rules established with the Buddha's 3 supernatural faculties. Such an act is an offense. Having quoted above from the sutras, I have related different ages of the Dharma to the behavior of the monks. Finally, in comparison with the teachings in earlier ages, the right Dharma age is destroyed in the age of the decadent Dharma. As a matter of natural development, the three modes of action of sentient beings cannot be regulated. Their four modes of deportment are against the Buddha's rules, as described in the Sutra Clearing Doubts Concerning the Semblance Dharma. Xiang Fa Jue Yi Ching. It also stated in the sutra. It is also stated in the sutra on the Buddha's last teaching, Wi Kiao Fa Lu. Again, it is stated in the Dharma Practice Sutra, Fa Xing Ching. It is also stated in the Mrgara's Mother Sutra. It is also stated in the Benevolent King Sutra. So it's just emphasizing all those places it is stated. So I'm going to read that last paragraph again without all the it is stated in. But finally, in comparison, so I'll just do that whole last bit after he's... having quoted from the above sutras, I've related the different ages of the Dharma to the behavior of the monks. Finally, in comparison with the teachings in the earlier ages, the right Dharma is destroyed in the age of the decadent Dharma. Let me read that. Finally, in comparison with the teachings in earlier ages, the right Dharma is destroyed in the age of the decadent Dharma as a matter of natural development. The three modes of action of sentient beings cannot be regulated, and their modes of deportment against the Buddha's rules, as described in the various sutras. Anyway, I won't read that again, but yeah, there you have it. That was a very powerful and amazing teaching to read. And it really makes me think. I really want to talk about this with Kyokan to put it in perspective, to get a real perspective on what to get a perspective on what the teachings are here. And so, because it seems like you should be very, very careful how we view and what our attitude should be and approach toward monks of this age, monks and nuns and of this age. And I want to make sure I'm living accordingly, but also just in general living accordingly as I should be in the age of Mappo. So anyway, I got through all of that today that I wanted to from this. So thank you for listening. I hope it you enjoyed the reading and it planted seeds and caused deep reflection and whatnot, all because of Amita's doing and working and vow and light and compassion and wisdom and his mind. So I think I'll do some Nambutsu now before I end this. So just get my beads ready. So. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu. Excellent. See you next time.